In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys some of Christian's challenging behaviors and how I help my son through them. So Christian is 8 years old. He is autistic as well as nonverbal. So that is one of the reasons why he has a lot of the challenging behaviors. He has a hard time communicating his needs and wants. So I want to show you guys what these behaviors might look like and how we help him through them. This video might come off as a little bit negative as it is in regards to behaviors that my son has, but I want to emphasize and show you guys that a lot of our day is filled with lots of laughs and positive moments. So with Christian being nonverbal and having autism as well as developmental delays, things sometimes can get very challenging for him, and with those challenges come behaviors. So I wanted to touch base on the behaviors that I see with Christian and what I do to help him in public and at home. Some behaviors have to do with escape avoidance if they don't want to do something. We're almost done. We're almost Christian, man. Sensory reasons, maybe something in their environment is causing them to feel anxious or overwhelmed and they try to regulate their senses. Another one might be because they are wanting something, so a behavior might happen because maybe they don't know how to express what they want, or maybe they're not getting what they want fast enough.
Bread. Your turn.
No.
Another behavior might be because of attention. They are seeking your attention, whether it's in a negative or positive way. So all of those reasons might be why we're seeing some behaviors in our kids. When Christian is wanting something, a lot of times he will try to grab at it, and if we are not giving it to him fast enough, a lot of times you'll see him bite himself verbally yell out, or fall to the floor. Sometimes it's a mix of all of them. Sometimes it's one thing, which escalates to more and more. So what I do in that regard is I try to work on his communication in a functional way. Him just grabbing things is not really helping him. So if he is trying to grab for things, I try to give him access to his communication device, and he is not independent with that yet. It's more like of a choice board for him at this time. So what I do is I kind of guide him, prompt them as needed. I try to get him to be as independent as possible. So either I'll model, like, I want to eat. We're gonna do some oatmeal, okay? We're gonna eat oatmeal for breakfast.
Bagel. Yogurt.
No, which one? Just one.
Oatmeal.
Okay. And that way we work on functional communication. So the more we do that, the more he'll realize that he can communicate what he wants. That, especially for kiddos that are barely starting to try to get the concept of communication, it's going to be pretty challenging, and you'll see a lot of behaviors when you try to teach them communication, because they're so used to you as a parent or guardian just knowing what they want. They kind of feel like, why do I have to work for this? So initially for communication, and sometimes even now with Christian, even though we've been practicing, he doesn't want to try to communicate. He feels like we already should know what he wants. So definitely that will bring out behaviors. So I just try to ignore the negative behavior. I just tell him what I expect of him. That's one big thing. Always set the expectation. So if he is throwing himself to the floor, instead of saying, Christian, we don't do that, we don't throw ourselves to the floor, it's better to just tell him what I'm expecting. Christian, stand up. We need to wait calmly. We need to use our device. Tell me what you want. So we don't want to draw too much attention to the bad behaviors. We want to kind of highlight the positive, especially when they're doing something that they're not supposed to. We want to make sure to let them know when they're doing something right. So I like how you're waiting calmly. I like how you're telling me that you want this. Good job getting my attention. Now, sensory wise, that one's challenging for Christian. Sometimes he will bite himself for sensory reasons. He just maybe likes how it feels. It helps him calm himself. For sensory things that are not appropriate, meaning they might hurt him or hurt others, I try to find an alternative for him. So if he is biting himself, I try to offer a chewy. If he doesn't want the chewy, I will try to give him something to put in his mouth so that he doesn't have the opportunity to bite himself. So a gum, a mint, something else to distract him. For the sensory of needing to move, that's Christian all the time. He needs to just constantly be on the move. Sometimes it's the hand flapping, which is okay. Sometimes it's the running back back and forth, touching others, and those necessarily are not okay in the public setting when there's other people and they need their space. He doesn't necessarily understand personal space. So sometimes I will have him stim with ribbons. I'll have him play with a fidget toy. I will have him sit down instead of having to wait standing up, because that helps him to understand that we're not going to be moving yet. All of those have been ideas brought up by his therapist that work to an extent, but Christian is Christian and a lot of kiddos just need to move, and I have to understand that. So oftentimes I'll let him kind of like move back and forth with me, like in front of me. I'll put him in front of me when I'm waiting in line, and that's kind of the hardest part for him, is just waiting in line or walking next to me when we're like grocery shopping. A lot of times is that's where I struggle to be alone with him, because it's like I'm trying to get food, I'm trying to do something else, and he just kind of needs to move, which is understandable. It is something he needs. A lot of the things that Christian struggles with and a lot of kiddos struggle with is waiting. Something that I've been told from therapists and when I work in the field, when I'm working with other kids as well, is when we are waiting, we are not expected to just wait for the most part for like X amount of minutes. We wait and we have our phone, or we have a game, or we are talking to other people, something that distracts us from the waiting aspect of like simply waiting. All of us have something that we get distracted with. So in regards to that, when a kiddo is struggling with waiting, we can have them wait for something, for example, like a chip. If they are practicing waiting for like 10 seconds, we can have them wait for a chip with a toy. You know, you need to wait 10 seconds for this chip, but you can play with this toy. Another thing that kiddos struggle with, and Christian too, is attending. When Christian is sitting and doing tasks, I find it very difficult to get him to attend. I feel like this essentially might not be all the kiddos, but I think to an extent a lot of kids struggle, and Christian is something that he struggles a lot with. So for that, I kind of set the expectation. You can use token boards, you can use visuals, you can give them a choice of like what they want to do first. Do you want to work on the puzzle, or do you want to work with the shapes? Giving them a choice helps them kind of keep some of that control. Do you want to do your hair first or brush teeth? Hair first? Okay, we'll do hair. So a lot of times our kiddos will start crying, throwing things, falling to the floor, and that's their way of communicating. But honestly, the best thing that we could teach them is functional communication and coping skills. So wherever that stands for your kid, if it's showing pictures, if it's pointing, if it's gestures, if it is eye contact, try to find the most functional communication for your child and build up on it, and just don't settle for crying or like, I know what my kid wants. Just really try to work on building up that skill so that everybody can kind of understand them. That's where I'm at with Christian. I understand his signs, I understand his gestures, but I'm really trying to focus on building up his communication device use so that others can understand him, and working on him waiting on food or toys so that he doesn't melt down fully whenever somebody tells him to wait. Another thing that my son struggles with is going from something that he really likes to something that he doesn't like. So it could look like in the morning getting out of bed to get ready for the day. It could be getting out of the car when he knows he needs to transition to therapy. Going from being in the backyard where he likes to jump and swing to going inside. All of that can be hard for him. One of the things that is helpful is letting him know how much time is left, prepping him for the change. So you have 5 minutes before we have to go inside, or you have 2 minutes before we have to do our morning routine. Another thing would be the visual timer, like letting them see how much time is left. Also letting them know what to expect. So we're going to go to the bathroom, we're going to put our clothes on, then we're going to brush our teeth, and then we're going to eat cereal. Having that visual list or like letting them see what's coming next is definitely helpful as well. I do hope that these tips helped you guys, and if you have any questions, let me know and I will try to help you guys as much as I can. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.